Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me? It's on, yeah, good. My English is slightly better than my Finnish, so I will read something in English. The director of the Helsinki African Film Festival that happens annually. And I'm just going to talk about why we do it, right? So Africa is not poor, it is impoverished. That is a statement by hip-hop artist Didier Award in the opening of a film we screened last year titled United States of Africa. In other words, poverty to mean a continent with little or no resources or funds, with no goods or possible means of support, or that is inevitably unfortunate. Impoverishment to mean that Africa's strength and riches are being exhausted or depleted because of prevailing economic and political systems. That impoverishment is a question of power. That, in a nutshell, is what drives us at the Helsinki African Film Festival. We aim to invite audiences to go beyond the way Africa has been constructed in the media or in NGOs or in organizations, to go beyond the simplifications and oftentimes marginalization of the African continent and its diaspora. Oftentimes, the stories about Africa produced by the Western media and or Hollywood or aid industry and so forth are often squeezed into very narrow frames, crime frames, tribal frames that do little to contextualize or give the real reality on the ground. Basically, these frames are only half, sometimes quarter the story, or sometimes not even the story. There are many frames to a seemingly reality on the ground, but often too many other realities are left behind. So at half, we screen films that offer the full humanity of Africans. We aim to bring complete, diverse stories. What a journalist or an NGO or organization chooses to include in a story about, say, development, or in order to get funds to a certain issue, for instance, female genital cutting or education, informs greatly how the community or society around the particular issues are imagined. It is the case that this exclusion only further cements more misunderstanding. At half, we hope to make a political impact through media by providing alternative viewpoints that are not usually represented in the mainstream media, for instance, as mentioned earlier. It mattered to us that there wasn't an African Film Festival in Finland 5 years ago, and begged the question, why? By bringing stories as told mainly by Africans and having the media address these stories is an exercise in engaging various stakeholders, media practitioners, as well as the public, who digest these stories to get to know the content that they're seeking to work, engage, or make policy about. We bring some of these storytellers or filmmakers to Finland. This provides a chance for the audience to have a closer look at the stories or issues that are dealt with in the films. The filmmakers, in turn, talk about their experiences in dealing with the subject matter, bringing context to issues such as ethnic strife, inequality, and or how development policies impact developing countries. When these festival directors talk about their work on TV, on radio, newspapers, or magazines, it in turn informs a closer depiction of the African. It goes without saying that images are powerful. A film can go a long way in, for instance, explaining in a nutshell that Ebola has not plagued the entire continent. I feel like I've been doing that quite a bit this last few weeks. Images can tell a story in a simpler way about the diversity, behavior, culture, economic and social status, and so forth, about a people better than a 40-page research document could do. That it is possible to get to know a people, to see their humanity, to see how it can resonate with the audience's own view of humanity. In return, this informs how NGOs, government, etc., choose to work with ideas of inequality, that the frames they choose will be the ones that are in line with the reality on the ground. That is how change can come about. Our aim is to bring entertaining films, but ones that promote a better understanding of the societies presented. The aim being to improve cultural understanding between Finland and Africa, Finnish people and Africans living here, better understanding amongst NGOs, organizations, etc. that work in developing countries, to show policymakers or project workers the policy that are based on more complete stories or stories that represent complexity in a better way than usual are the ones that are most successful. that indeed those that bring about paradigm shifts are those that understand the context within which they're working with. In Saraba, a documentary we screened last year, Sister Fa, who lives in Germany, goes back to her place of birth in Senegal to talk about female genital cutting. She manages to get her community that was responsible for her own FGC and that had been practicing this for hundreds of years to stop the practice. This film was important to us because it showcased that indeed change does and can occur when those working towards the change understand the context within which they're working with. They understand the history, impact, norms, and thus can navigate their way around issues much more than if the issue or problem was decontextualized or visited from a different perspective, be it cultural or political. At half, our hope is to impact and or change people's attitudes and or awareness. Of course, we're not able to instantly know what impact we have from year to year, but we take directions from the comments we receive from the ever-increasing audiences. But it is work we definitely believe in and will keep working at in the hope to bring a bit more balanced view of African Finland. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, very good. Thank you both. Before I leave you off the hook, I'd just like to ask whether you would like to share us with a thought or what will you be taking home today from this seminar?
I mean, I think just about what I've been talking about, but also what Danny probably said. And that is to bear in mind as we go home and keep in mind about the systemic change, that we have to have a radical vision. We must have a vision that's bigger than the normal story that we go on. To look at what we can do more as civil society and to keep reconnecting, to go beyond all the time, to connect with the people that we're trying to work with outside of Finland, for instance. Yeah.
Thank you.
I was thinking about about hope and despair because there is very many problems that we should talk with the Finnish people and very many things that they do not yet know. But still, how could we do it in a way that people think that they can do things, and it's the problem I have to think very much in my job because I teach people. But I think that there is always that balance. We have to find it somewhere, and I was very much thinking about it.
Okay, very good. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.